Welcome everybody to the biggest game of our Gamecocks season here. They sit at the 22nd rank in college football, and they have an opportunity today to take down a top 5 team in the Mississippi St Bulldogs. As you can see, the Bulldogs are 7-0, 4-0 in conference play. They're just under the Crimson Tide there in their side of the conference, and today it's going to be tough against this air raid offense, but on the first play of the game, we get to see this offense, and Rogers is going to make a beautiful read outside. Caleb ducking. It's going to fall out of bounds 14 yards later. 3rd and 3 now for Rogers and company. An early stop here would be huge for the Gamecocks. Rogers wants to throw, kind of under pressure. He runs out to the right side, and he just cannot evade enough people. He got away from Huntley, cannot get away from Sherrod Green. So now the Gamecocks get the ball a little bit earlier than expected on a 1st and 10. Rattler is sacked. You got to be able to read those left sides and that rush on the blind side if you're a quarterback, and Rattler just could not read it. Now 3rd and 11, takes the snap, wants to throw into coverage. Kind of a weird play. Didn't work either way. It almost got intercepted, then almost got caught, but Josh Pham would have been short of the first down marker either way. So now a 1st and 10. Rogers is going to throw into coverage. Intercepted Marcellus Dial. The Gamecocks defense early in this one comes up huge as they make a magnificent read there and just some beautiful coverage. And now we get to see our boy Marshawn Lloyd rumble up that right side for 7 yards. He kind of went out and into the middle. Now on a 3rd and 4, Rattler got a man open, misses it. Marcus Banks in coverage, and the Gamecocks again punt it away. No, they're going to go for it here on 4th and 4. Rattler all alone with Lloyd to the right. He's going to throw it to Brown, and he's got the first down. That is a very big risk there. Now 1st and 10. Rattler's going to find Juice Wells in the flats as he just rumbles forward for 16 yards. He did break a few tackles in the process. Now 1st and 10. Rattler wants to go to Lloyd this time following his lead blockers, and he's rumbling down 13 yards and a 2nd and goal now at about the 2-yard line. Rattler in an I formation, fakes to Stogner, gives it to Lloyd, touchdown. The Gamecocks strike early in this one. Well, I wouldn't really say early, but they strike first in this one as the score now stands 7-0 here late in this first quarter. A little over 2 minutes remain. Rogers is going to bring a man in motion now, and he's going to want to throw it this time. Rogers to the right side or the left side to Harvey. Harvey is going to shove Roderick, keeps his feet going, and finally brought down. He shoved R.J. Roderick to the ground, broke Cam Smith's tackle, and stepped over Roderick for that big gain. Now 1st and 10 for Rogers. Rogers is going to go outside to Johnson, who makes Sherrod Green miss another missed tackle. He gets cut down at about the 2-yard line. 1st and goal now. Rogers out of the shotgun. He has a running back to his left. They give it to the running back, and he rumbles in. Not expecting runs from this offense, and that hurts right there to allow that one. You should have been a little bit more prepared for that if you're a head coach, Smeems, but the Gamecocks were not ready for the run play. Now on a 2nd and 10, Rattler fakes it to CBS, gets sacked again. He maybe had a guy streaking downfield, but it just took too long to develop, and Rattler ate it, and the Gamecocks offense gives it right back to this Mississippi State offense here late in the first quarter. Rogers is going to go to Thomas, who makes a burst of speed past Cam Smith. Oh, man, touchdown, Rah-Rah Thomas. Will Rogers, his first touchdown pass of the day, into double coverage. Instead, Rah-Rah Thomas just gets past both of them. Now on a 3rd and 11, Rattler looking for anything right back across his body, and he got Van. Beautiful pass there, and just lucky it was not cut off by a defender. The Gamecocks get a second chance on this drive. 3rd and 2. Lloyd's going to extend it even farther as they get down 14 yards later, and a 3rd and 15 now on the same drive. Rattler is going to be a play action to Lloyd. No one open. Tries to force it, and luckily not intercepted by Forbes there. So the Gamecocks looking for a field goal here. Jeter. Rainy conditions. It's pretty windy too. Jeter going to snap it back. Hold is good, and it's just wide left all the way. Man, the Gamecocks miss an opportunity there against the 5th team in the nation. You cannot risk those, and Thomas wide open. Could have had a touchdown. Instead, he steps out of bounds, so the Gamecocks have a chance here to stop this drive. 3rd and 5. Going to be a screen to Johnson from Rogers, and Roderick It's going to bring them down 4 yards later. 2nd and 12 for this offense on the Gamecocks getting the ball back. Rattler going to throw into coverage. It's intercepted by Forbes. He dropped one earlier. This one's down to the 10 and the 5, and he's shoved out of bounds. Emmanuel Forbes read it perfectly. Man, Rattler expected man coverage. Instead, he got zone, and Dylan Johnson, another one. Just going to finish the job there with a little over 3 minutes remaining in this quarter. So this offense, man, that is a bad turn of events there for the Gamecocks. 2nd and 4, Lloyd's going to keep it. You've got to just kind of settle down here and not make any more mistakes. Takirion Joyner now comes back into the game at quarterback. He's going to have a 1st and 10. He's going to want to throw. Nobody getting open, so instead he runs it and he dives forward. He does have a 1st down, though. The Gamecocks now under a minute remaining in this 2nd quarter. Rattler on a play action wants to throw. 1st and 10. He's got Jaheim Bell, who kind of rumbles down. Took a couple of guys to bring him down, but 16 yards later, he's got the 1st and goal now. 2nd play or later, the next play after that, Joyner under pressure, rolling around, room to run into the end zone. Instead, he throws it. Josh Van, back of the end zone, a dangerous pass by Takirion Joyner, back across his body, and going into halftime, the Gamecocks now 21-14. Amarion Brown a chance to return. He's got it at the 10 to the 15 to the 20. Got some great blocking on the outside. A beautiful block by Stogner. To the 50, one man to beat. Got Lavosa. Carroll is going to pick up the block. Boom! 95 yards for Amarion Brown. 7:49 in the quarter. It took 11 seconds. And Amarion Brown has got the longest kick return in NCAA football history. You just saw Stogner lay out that edge guy, and nobody was quick enough to catch up to Amarion Brown. I believe that is his 2nd touchdown return off of a kickoff or a punt. He had one earlier in the season, I know, on a punt return. I mean, the Gamecocks, man, big play there. Now they kick it off here. Basically 0-0, 22-21. They have a chance to reset it here. Griffin, though, got some great blocking up the left side to the 30. He evades Kroger. No way. To the 40. Couple of men chasing him. Nobody's going to catch him. Oh, my goodness. LaDietrich Griffin breaking the record just like that as the Gamecocks trot back onto the field. Down 7 now. Both teams went for 2. Both teams got the 2-point conversion now. 2nd and 6 for Rattler. Rattler wants to throw. Looking downfield, nobody's open. Instead, he rolls out. Got a man streaking open, and it's intercepted. Marcus Banks just cut it off, and Rattler, probably the ugliest pass we've seen from him all year long. He had a touchdown. If he just lobs that, it's an easy pass. Instead, he bullet passes it, and it just gets picked off immediately. And now Rufus Harvey continuing a very productive day for him as the Bulldogs now have it 2nd and 4 at about the 11-yard line. Rogers wants to throw. Finds Dylan Johnson open. He is cut down, but he falls forward. Not going to give him the touchdown. So it's a 1st and goal from about the 1-yard line. Rogers going to give it to Johnson again. Kind of held up there, but he gets into the end zone. And it is just a theme today. The Gamecocks did not come prepared for the run game. And the Bulldogs prepared to run it a lot in the goal line stands. And now on a 1st and 10, Rattler gonna make some noise here. He's able to get it 33 yards down the field to Jaheim Bell. He was covered, but is a good catch. And now 3rd and 1. CBS gonna cut it to the outside. Not quick enough to get around that man, but still a good 11-yard run. So there's still hope here. It's only a 2-score game. Joyner now on a 2nd and 10 out of the shotgun. He's got a little bit of pressure from that right side. He wants to roll around. Fires to Lloyd. Cuts it to the left. Touchdown Gamecocks. The Takirion Joyner, 3 for 3, 45 yards and 2 touchdowns. Should he be the starting quarterback going forward is a major question now. He has been very impressive so far in the quarterback position. Now on a 2nd and 12. Rogers finds Griffin, who's able to work his way free from Cam Smith. And he had the kickoff return earlier in this half. Instead, this time he's going to get a nice pass down about 12 yards. Now 1st and 10 for Rogers and co. He's going to take the snap. Wants to throw outside. This time it's Rufus Harvey. Bounces off of a man to the 20, to the 15, and down at about the 13-yard line. Just some bad tackling here for this Gamecocks defense. They look tired. 1st and 10 now. Rogers going to give it to Johnson. Oh, my goodness. untouched Dylan Johnson up the middle of the field. 13 yards later, he is in the end zone. Not a lot you can say about that, but it definitely hurts as a 3rd and 10 for the Gamecocks offense. Rattler wants to throw. He finds Jaheim Bell on a 4th and 4. They're likely going to go for it after that 6-yard gain now. Rattler out of the shotgun. Wants to take the snap. Rolling out. Nobody even open. And that is big for this Bulldogs offense. Getting the ball back here with 6 seconds remaining in the third. 3rd and 3. Rogers, is he going to snap it? He does get the snap off, and he's going to keep it himself. Both players went for the running back, and instead Will Rogers rumbles for 9 yards now, 1st and goal. Rogers out of the shotgun in the 4th quarter here. He wants to throw it this time. He is going to throw it to the right side. He hits Johnson. Sherrod Green quickly going to bring him down 4 yards later, now 2nd and goal. Rogers out of the shotgun again. It's going to be another read option. He keeps it himself. Touchdown, Bulldogs. Gamecocks are getting embarrassed today. 50-29 is where the score stands here as we get the ball back. 6:56 remaining. 1st and 10. Joyner wants to throw it as he continues to be in the ball game, and it's going to be a good pass. 12 yards. Juice Wells able to break a tackle there. So now, 1st and 10 again. Dak stays in the game, and he's going to step up, deliver a strike to Jaheim Bell down the seam. A beautiful throw there. Jaheim Bell, 7 catches, 106 yards now, 3rd and 5. Joyner, nobody open, tries to force it to the end zone. Intercepted. You had to figure his beautiful play and his perfect play was going to come to an end eventually, and it did that right there. Bulldogs have a chance here. If it wasn't already over on a 3rd and 10, the Gamecocks have to get a stop, and they do not. Caleb Ducking is able to get an easy catch and run there for 14 yards. Basically, if this game wasn't already over, the Bulldogs score here. It is over completely, and Thomas, 31 yards. Can't even get excited anymore because this has just been a rough game so far in the second half. It was close all the first half. The Gamecocks just have not been able to get much going here in the second half, and a 3rd and 7 turns into a punt. So now 2nd and 7 for the Gamecocks. Joyner under pressure, and he's sacked. Loses 8 yards. 3rd and 16 now. We're down to the final 2.5 minutes of the game. Rattler comes back in all alone in the backfield. He wants to throw. He's got Joyner. Joyner to the 40. He's going to outrun his man to the 30, to the 20, and he is gone. Dakirion Joyner does get to the end zone. A beautiful double route there on the tight end post route. And Dakirion Joyner makes his defender think twice as he just is able to outrun him. He just turns on the Jets right there. He gets a nice touchdown for this Gamecock offense, but unfortunately, not a lot of time left. 3 timeouts remaining, so they have one opportunity here on 3rd and 1 for the game. Rogers out of the shotgun, wants to throw it right into the breadbasket, but Griffin drops it. So the Bulldogs gift the Gamecocks another opportunity here as we are in the hurry-up offense. 2nd and 3, Rattler's going to go to Brown across to the left side, and he makes a man miss. He's going to get brought down 11 yards later, now 3rd and 10. Rattler out of the shotgun, wants to take the snap, he wants to throw it, instead he gets sacked. 4th and 20 for the game. Rattler out of the shotgun, all alone in the backfield. He wants to throw. Steps into the pocket, fires to Stogner, and he drops it. You can't hear me shaking my head, but I definitely am. That could have been huge. The Gamecocks lose their opportunity to come back, and they are going to fall now to 7 and 2 on the season. Both losses to top 5 teams, unfortunately for us. We have not been able to pull through, as next week is another tough matchup. The Gamecocks fall 50-37 is your final as the Bulldogs extend their record to 8-0 on this season. Unfortunately, the Gamecocks could not pull out this one. Dakirion Joyner, a magnificent performance. 288.8 quarterback rating, 5 of 6, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. We probably could have avoided that 1 interception, but it was pretty much over at that point. Spencer Rattler, 19 of 34, 257 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That second one really hurt us. You know, he had a guy wide open for a touchdown, just could not make the throw, and he just looked lost out there. Marshawn Lloyd, 15 for 74 and a touchdown. Dak also added on 7 for 22 on the ground. And also through the air, De'Kerion Joyner is going to have the 1 catch for 74 yards and a touchdown. Josh Vann, 2 for 28 and a touchdown. And Marshawn Lloyd, 6 for 32 and a touchdown. Following that up is Juice Wells, 4 for 72. And Jaheim Bell, the receiver of the day, 7 catches for 106 yards. He was breaking tackles left and right. Defensively, Shariah Green had a decent game. 8 solo tackles, 1 for loss, and the 1 sack. Then we have Marcellus Dial with the 1 interception there, and a couple other sacks I believe we should have had. No, we only ended up having 1 sack all day long. We just weren't able to get pressure on them, and really not a good look as we head into this matchup against the Gators. The Gators sit at 7-2. The same conference record, the same overall record. They're a couple spots higher than us ranking-wise, but they haven't had the easiest of schedules either. They've pretty much played the same schedule we've played except for the Mississippi State game. They played all of the teams we played. They beat Texas A&M just like we did. They beat Tennessee like we did. They did lose to Kentucky, so that is their only game they lost that we did not lose. They beat up on LSU, they beat up on Missouri, they beat up on FCS Southeast. Actually, they didn't beat them as much as I would have expected them to. Lost to Georgia by a touchdown, which is about how much we lost to them by. I think we lost by 10 to Georgia, and they beat up on Vanderbilt. So it's a fairly evenly matched game, and as you can see, Anthony Richardson, 235, 100. He's attempted 235 passes, completed 113 of them. He's got about 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and Trevor Etienne, 134 yards, or 134 attempts, 669 yards, and 12 touchdowns. So not the greatest offense. I mean, obviously Anthony Richardson is more known as a runner, but he hasn't been all that impressive passing-wise, and I hope this Gamecock team can take advantage of that because we have not really been able to take advantage of bad quarterbacks so far this year as much as I would have liked to. We've been a very bad passing defense. And as you can see from Will Rogers, if you can throw it, you can pretty much do whatever you want against this team. And we've got to cut the turnovers down. 15 interceptions is just way too much if you're a starting quarterback for an SEC team. So that is a little disappointing there. On the recruiting side of things, not a lot of news still going on. We had a couple guys lock us out. So a little bit of a complete overhaul. As you can see, John Davis, we were going after him pretty heavily. Unfortunately, he locked us out again, so I did add a couple of guys back to the recruiting board. We've got this guy, Brian Huffman, we're trying to bring in as our center there. We didn't have anybody else commit just yet. We have Julius Kenry, a JUCO athlete. He's going to be pretty big if we can bring him in. Stephen Moss, a guy from New England. I would like to bring him in just to see what he can do. He's a scrambler. Just maybe bring him in and see how he can fit in this roster. Whether or not he starts first year or whether or not we wait a couple years before he plays would be really good to see. But it's going to be tough to bring him in considering that big lead that the San Diego team has got on us. Then we got Pat Matthews. Brendan Hammond is a guy that I've wanted to bring in. We've had him we've been number one on his charts the entire time, and we've led for a while, but for whatever reason, he just will not commit. Probably waiting, I would imagine, until the visits happen, so that's unfortunate for us because Clemson comes first. And then we've got a couple of guys that we're going after pretty heavily. Rory Patrick is probably going to be my main guy that I want to get. I want to be able to bring him in. Steve Spencer is a guy that I'd like to bring in for some depth. Patrick Morris is a big get if we can get him out of Georgia. We do have a visit coming up, but unfortunately Arkansas does as well. Jamal Wilson out of Laurel Bay, South Carolina would be very big to bring in, and Ben Sands as well as Chris Dobzinski. I would like to bring all of those guys in. Ideally, we'll at least get half of them, and then we'll have to kind of revamp our recruiting board as we go into the final few weeks of the season. But thankfully, we lost to the top 5, to a number 5 team in the country who is now number 4, so it's not like we fell out of the rankings. We're still sitting at 23rd. I don't know why they said we're not ranked at all. We were definitely ranked last week. We did not drop out, so that's kind of weird, but I think it's just a glitch in the system. Next week, we are setting up a matchup against Florida. Not a lot of big matchups this week. We do have Purdue taking on Penn State and obviously us taking on Florida, but not a lot of major matchups. I guess you could say Mississippi State versus Bama might be a little big one. I mean, just number 1 versus number 4. We can go ahead and see how those games play out, or if actually we'll wait till next week to see how those games play out since it's going to be next week's episode. Yeah, if you guys enjoy this series, hit the like button and subscribe. If you have any other ideas or any other type of content you would like to see as far as this series goes, would you like independent recruiting videos? I would be very much open to that. Thank you all for continuing to support this series, and join us next time as we host the Florida Gators here at Williams-Brice Stadium.